Joe Biden confirms late Friday that he's not waiting around any longer. For the first time since coming into office, Joe Biden says he's tried to be bipartisan with the Republicans on the stimulus package bill, but he says, you know what, I'm not waiting around much longer. Which basically says, my way or the highway. And with that, in this video, I go over what is on that highway to stimulus. And I go over the deal provisions that aren't in there that should be in there. And will they be added later, and will they be fixed? Meantime, I go over the controversy about some comments by Senator Portman overnight. There's a lot of stuff developing, and I'm so excited you joined me. But it would have been better if you brought me some bacon. This is Early Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Early Mornings LA. It's Saturday morning, ready to crush the weekend. I am. The toast is toasted, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here. And with a new day upon us, Senator Portman says, you know, I'm not sure if I want to give you stimulus. I just don't have enough economic data. Yeah, it's stuff like that I can't keep a straight face when I read those comments. If that sounds familiar, that line sounds familiar, that's exactly what Mitch said all throughout 2020 until he started to move in the fall of 2020 when some elections were happening. He said, I don't have any economic data. I just don't know what's going on with the economy. Can you get your head out of the sand? Maybe you can see it. Thank you for joining me on Early Mornings LA. In this video, I'll be going over what's in the third stimulus package and why Joe is certainly taking this by the reins and pushing forward as of Friday evening. Big updates across the board. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. This is the best channel out there with programming 24/7. If you missed Early Mornings today, I had EIDL early in this morning at 1 o'clock and then FPUC at 2 a.m. Those are big shows, so if you didn't catch them, you can watch them. They're now taped on the channel. Overnight, we had Hazard Pay, which is a big watch show, live chat, but also the subjects is very big because a lot of people want that hazard pay. And now, right before this video, I went over the check and how they can still go bigger on the check amount. Over there is an instant premiere, and don't forget to chat with your Purple Power buddies during the instant premiere. But meantime, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. We're trying to add another 5,000 subscribers. We're at 376, so let's see if we can add another 5,000 next couple days. Meantime, like this video. Make sure that like that video. And if you've not become a member, consider joining this channel as a new member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. So much happened across the board, so without a delay, let me get right to it. And these are the breaking news details. This morning, we start with Joe Biden's remarks from last night, Friday night, in which he says, you know what, I'm not waiting around much longer. I'm ready to move. We can't keep on doing this. Why did he say this? Because over the last 7 days, he's been doing Zoom chats with Republicans, 16, 20 people on a Zoom chat, saying, hey, here's my bill, let's talk about it. And he said the feedback has been good, but very, much of nothing. It's just been sort of like dragging feet. And so he said, while that's optimistic talks, it doesn't show a lot of progress. And so he says it's time to move. It's reassuring that he sees that because you've been telling him to see that. Earlier in the week, we started with the Purple Power successfully, the viewers of this channel who I refer to as Purple Power, successfully getting the bill into the House of Representatives. We had started the week with no bill, no place, no how, and suddenly we got the bill into the House of Representatives, into the House subcommittees, and then set for a vote. The vote on the bill will be coming this coming week. And this is amid Joe Biden now coming to the plate with us as well, saying, hey, we can't just sit around with this forever. Well, let's certainly remind ourselves that Joe Biden said he was the one who wanted this bill on his table on day one. This is not day one. This is almost starting week 3 now. And so the bill could land on his table by the end of this week. That is that item. The next item is those comments by Senator Portman, who's retiring because he I can't say this with a straight face either. He's retiring because he doesn't like the partisan bickering. But, I think it's just him bickering. He said in comments overnight, he says, I don't, we already have unemployment benefits to March, so what's the rush? There's no urgency. That was his exact words. There's no urgency. We already have FPUC and UI and PUA to March, so what's the problem? If we have a problem, we'll deal with it in February. We don't have a problem right now. And he says, if there's some sense of urgency, I don't see the economic data. Maybe if we got some more economic data, I don't have the economic data. I can't say that also with a straight face because it sounds so ridiculously familiar to those exact words that Mitch McConnell would repeatedly say in summer 2020. When I was in the thick of summer, I was recording outside. Mitch McConnell just consistently said, I'm not going to give you stimulus because I have no economic data. The economic data can't be any worse than it is. Unemployment's not improving. Doses have not been, there's not enough doses in this country. The labor market is not improving. Reemployment is not occurring. The low-income people are not being reemployed. Rich are getting richer. Poor are getting poorer. And jobless claims continue to grow, and there's no new job creation. So hence you do need a stimulus relief. Savings are not improving. They're dissipating or depleting or going away. So yeah, everything suggests you need stimulus. So why not understand you need it right now? The big issue, of course, as he brings up Portman, unemployment, is the real big issue that viewers and I don't understand. We can understand the partisanship between the Republicans and Democrats, but we don't understand when Democrats start with a number and then retract from their own number. They flee from their own number. Joe Biden, during the transition paper, said he was going to give you FPUC retro at $600 a week. What is FPUC? It's unemployment boost. It goes on top of your UI, PUA. You got it from March to July. You didn't get it from July to December. Well, you're owed that money. It seems like some politicians from both sides of the political spectrum love to forget what you never got. And viewers and myself every time this happens, whether it's a Republican or Democrat, we don't understand why they think they can just pull off this, oh, I'm not going to talk about that thing that they do. When they don't pay you something for a certain period of time, then they just like, well, let's just change the subject. They just sort of change the subject and they don't ignore that event occurred. They did not pay you FPUC from July to December. They said they were going to get to it 1,000 times. They said they're going to pay it to you 1,000 times. They said we're not going to do it now, we'll do it later. And now we're at that point of what is later, and they're not doing it. There is no FPUC retro in the third stimulus package. Why? No one understands why. Democrats who wrote the bill aren't explaining their own bill. And ironically, news reporters are not holding them to the story. You hear this as a recurring theme on this channel, that ultimately the people that hold politicians accountable are news reporters. They're not asking that. Overnight, I saw an article from a local broadcast news affiliate. The major three networks always have local news channels that they own. And so this was one of their local news affiliates. And I read the article. It said, hey, the third stimulus package may get done next week. Okay, good. They're starting the article correct. I'm reading through. And then it says $1,400. Why is the stimulus check $1,400? Because it's the Cash Act, $1,400 for $600, $2,000. I'm like, oh, good. They got that part right. And then the article just sort of stops. It just stops. It doesn't tell the viewer, oh, you were supposed to get $2,000 on top of the $1,400 because everyone said that to you. It was promised and written and promised and written. No, they just sort of skip it. And then they say, well, there will be an extension of unemployment benefits, but it doesn't mention the FPUC retro. So you see, when broadcast news reporters seem to be very bad at reporting the news, whether they are forgetful or they don't care or they don't take notes, what happens is that no one's holding the politicians accountable. And this is a big issue because Joe Biden wants FPUC going forward to September, January to September, $400 a week, which is about $16,000, $18,000, $20,000 of unemployment. And he wants to give zero for people from July to December. This potentially enormous amount of money to people from January to September and nothing to those people from September to December. Now, understand. One could say, why should he give them the money? There's a lot of those questions. Why should he be giving people from 2020 the money? There's a series of reasons why. One, he promised. That's the easiest one. But let's assume he didn't promise it. Let's just say he never talked about it. Well, Nancy Pelosi promised it. Okay, let's say she didn't promise it. Well, during the negotiations of all of 2020, that amount of money was offered to her. Steve Mnuchin offered her $400 a week, and she didn't take it. And by not taking it, she said, I'll get to it later. This recurring theme of getting things later is of concern to viewers. As we start the weekend and we get ready for Monday, we wonder when we see the bill next week if we're going to see a lot of stuff that just sort of starts, March 2021 and forgets that you have suffered anything since January of last year. Hazard pay. That's an example. Hazard pay is in the third stimulus package, but what is the effective date of hazard pay? Is this a start in January? Okay, so you've been working as a frontline worker since the pandemic hit and risking your lives. You're not going to get a penny from March to now? Do we know? We don't know yet. That's the mystery, and that's where we hope things will do right for us. Business grants. Is this just for people who... is it based upon 2020 earnings? Hey, here's a pandemic. You're shut down. You have no earnings for 2020. It comes 2021 with a business grant. Well, based upon how well you did in 2020. What do you mean how well I did in 2020? I didn't have anything at all to do in 2020. Don't give me a business grant based upon a bad year. Do it based upon a good year. So we don't know that issue as well. There's a lot of things that we don't know about. We also don't know why is there no SSI and SSDI, Social Security or railroad benefits, $200 a month in this third stimulus package bill. We don't know why there's no delineation of hazard pay. We don't know how much business grant or business loans. We don't know who gets that $1,700 for college students. So there's a lot of stuff we just don't know. And we hope that these people who had predicated this third stimulus package bill on a series of events that are just not going to be occurring now, understand they got to go bigger, because the promise of 100 vaccinations in 100 days is not happening under the Biden administration, despite his promise on day one this was going to happen. His promise to reopen businesses and reopen schools in 90 days, that ain't going to happen because there's no vaccination of teachers. Teachers are not going to risk their lives, and parents are not going to put their kids in schools. So there's a lot of big issues. He hasn't even done the teachers reform. There's no money for the teachers in the schools as well. You had an incredible 2,000 comments from yesterday's video. Let me go over some of them right now. Mike Payton, did they really leave out SSI, retirement, disability, VA, and RR? We are the worst hit too. Yeah, they did leave it out. You are not in the third stimulus package, and you are the worst hit. It seems as though, since the pandemic hit, that the rich people got a lot of stimulus. PPP first round, PPP second round, EIDL this round, PPP another round, PPP another round. It just, big business got big money. Small guy ignored often. Shirley Young, it's like Groundhog Day every day. Richard Barney, we really need stimulus checks. We, the American people, have been struggling for months. Let's get those checks out soon. Amen. Reese S., I'd like to know why they purposely left out SSI, SSDI, RR, and vet increase in the new bill. It was promised to us. Well said, Reese. It was promised to you. Beth Ford, the people have been calling out for too long. Novelia Neves, why is America the only country that's stuck on providing financial aid to their people? This is the biggest country in the world, but where they aren't acting like it. That's a well-said comment. There's this whole thing about not giving money. There's a whole thing about concerns about spending money. Robert Stefan, way too long these people need to go. The only ones who got it together is Bernie Sanders. The rest of them have to go shameful government. God will pay them back. Wow. Jamie Kurtz. Why are they not helping? They're dragging their feet. Douglas Grant. They owe us for what they put us through last year. Reese S. So sad and sinful that these leaders who supposedly run our country have left us out for senior citizens, disabled, RR benefits, and veterans. It's disgraceful. Mark Tyndall, but he said that SSI was in there. I'm concerned about everything, but I'm living off of SSD. Patricia Thomas, good morning, LA, and everyone. Have a blessed day, and good morning to you as well. great comments across the board. Those are great comments. Ultimately, they're leaving out a lot of people. They're leaving out the big stimulus checks. They're leaving out the hazard pay. They're leaving out what could be big hazard pay. They're leaving out FPUC retro. They're leaving out $600 of FPUC. They're leaving out a lot of things that were promised. And ultimately, you need to hold them to their promises. Take this video and share it on social media. Tag the elected officials. This is the channel that has advocacy. We advocate for stuff. Whether it's promised to or not promised to us, we advocate for stuff that's owed. And ultimately, you need stimulus. If we don't advocate for it, then you get nothing. And unfortunately, you shouldn't have to advocate it. You should just be getting for it. You should just be given it. But in this case, we have to advocate for it. If you have questions or comments in today's video, drop them in the comments below. I might feature them in tomorrow's recording. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also like this video. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay LALATE for more.